Good afternoon, everybody, and we're back with chemistry. So I'm gonna answer a question that I asked about carbenes. And if you don't know what carbenes are, we'll talk about that. But the question is, can we make carbenes with other group 14 elements? So are carbene of heavier carbon analogs possible? By heavier analogs, we mean other elements in group 14 that are heavier carbon: silicon, germanium, tin, and lead. So carbenes right here are divalent species of carbon, okay, with a lone pair. Okay, they're neutral, they don't have any charges. And for carbon, it can be found as a singlet carbene or a triplet carbene according to the electron spin state. And what we can see right away is that a singlet carbene, which by the way is hybridized, a singlet carbene has an empty p orbital that can accept electron density, and that's seen, for example, for an heterocyclic carbene. So this one makes it pretty electrophilic. And this one actually is a pretty nucleophilic. And for carbon, the triplet carbene is the most stable. It's what is found, for example, in ethylene. If we can imagine ethylene as being two CH2s coming together. However, carbon is the exception on group 14, because as we go down the periodic table, we notice that heavier atoms do not hybridize. Okay, this is true for everything. For every heavier analog, because of orbital mismatch, heavier atoms do not hybridize. So if we can imagine synthesizing heavier analogs of carbenes for silicon, germanium, tin, lead, well, we'll notice that we may have a single carbene, because of course those electrons will be in a lower energy s orbital. Okay, and you see the geometry difference between an s orbital and a hybridized sp2 orbital. So in this case, well, can we make them? Yes, we can. And the way we do that is either by thermodynamic control, okay, where we have donor groups, donor substituents that can donate electron density into this empty p orbital, okay, and that's a very effective way. But a much more effective way is actually what is called stabilization or kinetic stabilization, where this species is relatively unstable, but if we have bulky R groups, such as adamantane, okay, which is a primary form of diamond, we can stabilize the steel carbene and form a stable carbene analog. Now the difference, so we see that in group 14, carbon C, is an exception because most of the other elements are singlet species. So we can see a few differences. Whereas a triplet carbon is mainly nucleophilic, it has sp2 hybridized. Okay, a singlet carbene, heavier analog carbenes such as silene, germanium, etc., is very electrophilic, and it is not hybridized at all. So this opens up important questions about bonding, bond formation, single bond formation, double bond formation of heavier analogs, which we can talk about in the future. Thanks for watching.